a podcast driven by AAA about the road of life and the wheels that set our journeys in motion. I'm Jared Deanda, voice of motorsports and auto events all around the world, and your wheelman here in Motorland.
And I'm Michelle Donati from AAA. Happy to be along for the ride.
In today's episode, Caroline Ecklin Lewis joins us from Utah to tell us about Sally. Sally is a car. Michelle, did you ever name your car?
You know, what's funny is the only car that I've ever actually named is the car that I drive now. She is a 2020 Volvo XC40, and her name is Valda.
I feel like you can drive her to IKEA and get your Swedish meatballs, and I love that. Well, we're talking about what it's like when your car feels like a member of the family.
Oh, that's so cool.
Hold the family together in tough times, and Sally is still in the family today. So, Michelle, you ready to meet Sally and meet Caroline?
Definitely. Let's buckle up for another adventure in Motorland.
Hello, LA, hello, take me anywhere.
Caroline, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story on Motorland. I understand you come from a close-knit family and cars have always been a part of your journey. So tell us a bit about growing up.
So I'm one of 4 girls, and I just always gravitated towards anything with a motor, like getting down and dirty, washing cars, because my dad has an awesome car collection and he takes care of his cars very well. My dad is definitely a car guy, and my mom, learned to appreciate that too. So it was kind of just in the family. That was probably 3 or 5 and running out to meet daddy outside on Sunday morning as he's washing his cars. And I just have so many pictures of me and oversized rain boots and pants and no shirts because it's hot, because, if dad doesn't wear a shirt, then we don't have to wear a shirt. And we're just so little and just holding the hose to the wheels. And that's pretty much all I did when I was that little. So yeah, every Sunday our thing was, we'd go out, we wash cars, and we go take a ride. And of course, Sally being one of them that we would always ride in.
Tell us about Sally.
I love Sally. So Sally's a silver Porsche. So she's a 1980 SC, which is the Super Carrera. And the reason she got her name, so my whole family, we're just big on naming things. Sally got her name when the Cars movie came out. And there's that adorable blue Porsche in Cars. And her name's Sally, right? The one that falls in love with McQueen.
Mm-hmm.
So the minute that came out, I was like, oh, she's totally Sally, because she has that look. She has that glimmer, that little Porsche smile in a way. My dad, he and my mom started dating. My parents met in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is where I'm born.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would take cruises, Sunday cruises in this car. She has a little cassette player, so listen to old school classic rock. Has a little sunroof, has air conditioning. Back then it sometimes worked, but sometimes didn't. Typical old car.
Wow. So Sally was the car your parents started dating in. That's awesome. So how many people can say that?
I know.
Do you have any special stories about your parents with Sally?
Yeah. One of my favorite stories with them is they were driving to meet my grandparents, which is a 3-hour-ish drive. And my dad comes home late from work, and they were still trying to obviously make it that night. And my mom, she knew how to drive cars. It's a manual, right? So it's 5-speed. So she looked at my dad and was like, I can definitely drive Sally. We can still take her, because they were debating, should we just take a more reliable car, right? But my mom was like, no, let's take Sally. It'll be fun. We can put the sunroof down, cruise, stuff like that. And then she was like, I can drive. And they're cruising, and it's super late at night. And my dad falls asleep.
Oh, no.
And wakes up, and he says, your mom was just literally cruising, listening to Led Zeppelin, cruising on the highway. He wakes up oh my gosh. And she just kind of smiles and says, this car's great. And he's just like, okay, cool. Yeah, go for it.
So do you think that your mom would have fallen in love with your dad if it hadn't been for Sally?
Yeah, I'm sure. For sure. They still would have fallen in love, but Sally just helped.
Caroline, from one woman to another, what was it like growing up, middle school, high school, being an auto enthusiast?
I think I was always the kid that always cut up, bruised, because I was probably riding something I shouldn't, go-karts, dirt bikes, stuff like that. In middle school, I didn't really embrace it that much. It was more of just something that I just did on weekends and stuff. But then high school comes around, it was just more all my guy friends thought it was super cool. So yeah, I just kind of learned to embrace it.
Did you ever consider the automotive industry as a career?
Yeah. My parents were like, well, you're really good with cars and you can explain them very well, especially to women or people that just don't really get them. So how about you start doing something with cars? Back then, like blogging was becoming a very popular thing. This was about 2015 into 16. My blog is called Chic Moto. My mom, she was like a big part of like Chic Moto, but then my mom being really sick, I would say probably 18, 19. I think 2019, I finally let it go. So my mom did get sick with cancer and she did pass away in 2018. And obviously anytime you lose like a parent, it's a really hard time. When my mom did get sick, I moved back home and managed my dad's car restoration shop.
First off, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Your mom sounds like an amazing woman, and we're absolutely honored to tell her story on Motorland.
It's like always good to just talk about her and all of her fun memories. It's super fun.
So you leave Utah and head back to Pennsylvania to be with your family. What were those times like?
I think I was just more in like a mourning phase than anything. I'm the type of person that when I'm upset, I have to go drive. So when she was sick, I would just drive for literally hours. And I had Sally, 2-3 hours. My dad would call me and be like, where the heck are you? And I'm just like, I know, I'm coming back. You know, every person has their own way of just getting by with things. To me, it's just like that calmness of, I don't even listen to music. I just listen to the engine and you just kind of like tune out thoughts. So I guess that was why it was always my escape.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah, super therapeutic.
It sounds like Sally was there for you in tough times. Do you have any stories you can tell?
Oh, mom's going to love this. Because she still loved riding in Sally. I even remember my mom being really sick, actually 2 times, great stories with my mom. So she wanted to go see my sister in Florida. And everyone was a little against it because she was pretty sick. But so she was like, no, I'm going to Florida. I don't really care what the doctors say. My mom was a very determined woman. Hence why all 4 of us are very determined women. I go to pick her up and it was supposed to not be a hot day. I can't wait to pick her up in Sally. This is gonna be great. And then it gets to be like 90 degrees. I get in Sally, AC's not working. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I'm running late, of course, right? One of those days.
Oh no.
I go and I pick her up and I was like, Mom, I'm so sorry. It's so hot. I brought you water, all this kind of stuff. And she just looks at me and just starts like smiling. She's like, no, we're fine. We can take our time. Cause she sees Sally, right? She just loved that car so much. So we just took the long way back home, not highways, and just cruised in Sally, even though it was literally 90 degrees and we were sweating. Then another time, my dad went to pick my mom up for like a car cruise from the hospital and he wanted to pick her up in Sally. And he goes to try to start her and she wouldn't start. So, right, of course, being sassy. So he calls me and he was like, Caroline, you got to get over here to bump start this car. So here we are. I'm in Sally and my dad's pushing it and I'm trying to bump start her in a hospital, like in front of the hospital. My mom's just like dying laughing, like typical, this is what our family, typical car issues. It just happens all the time.
I love how Sally kept you guys together during an unimaginable time and just kind of kept those memories going and that laughter going when your family probably needed it the most.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
What's Sally's personality like? I'm curious. What does she sound like? Does she have an accent? Does she not? What's her sign?
Yeah.
I'm just curious. What is her personality?
Yeah. I think for me, she's very similar to Sally in cars. Kind of like glamorous, but doesn't show off, right? She kind of like keeps herself under the radar, even though she's super attractive, but also a little bit sassy, which I've driven that car before and she has like broken down or something. And I'm just like, really, Sally? Like, really? This is what you want to do today? Okay, cool. Right.
So tell us, where is Sally now? Did she make the trip back with you to Utah? She's still in Pennsylvania. Where's she at?
Yeah. So Sally got a beautiful restoration after my mom passed. It was kind of like a way of just restoring her in a way and restoring mom's memory. And so she's luckily safe back in Pennsylvania.
How often do you get back to see her in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, anytime I visit. My dad always texts me when he is driving her as well.
You're not supposed to text and drive.
Yeah.
He's not supposed to text and drive. Caroline, come on.
No, he's always like, hey, I'm about to get into Sally. And I'm always like, oh, let me know how she runs.
All right, I'm kidding. That is awesome. This legacy in the story and the love in the story, it's absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
We, Michelle, everybody really appreciates it. Caroline Ecklin Lewis, thank you for being here in Motorland.
You're welcome.
I absolutely loved this story. Caroline is so cool, and Sally is too.
Yeah, I want to hang out with Caroline. I'm going to Utah this year, so we're going to hang out for sure. And Sally, how instrumental of a family member she was.
Let's ask our Motorland family. Does your car have a name? Is it a member of the family? What's its sign? Share it with us. The hashtag Motorland Podcast. We would love to hear from you.
Oh man, what's its sign? I like that question. Do you think your Taurus was a Taurus?
No way, Jared. I'm pretty sure it was a Scorpio with a Pisces rising.
Well, Michelle, thanks again so much for being along, riding shotgun here. And thank you to AAA for revving up this podcast.
It's been great, Jared.
L-O-L-A-L-O, take me anywhere.
Motorland is executive produced by AAA Mountain West Group in cooperation with Sound That Brands. Hello, Take Me Anywhere is written by Justin Sullivan, performed by Night Shop, by arrangement with Terror Bird Media. Reproduction or distribution without prior consent of AAA Incorporated and AAA Mountain West Group is prohibited. The AAA logo is a trademark of AAA Incorporated. The Motorland Podcast logo is a trademark of AAA Northern California, Nevada, and Utah. Thank you for listening. If you like it here in Motorland, come on, please give us a rating, review, and share it with all your friends and family. It's kind of like sending a postcard that says, wish you were here. I'm Jared Dienda. May the road rise to meet you and the wind be at your back. We'll see you again soon in Motor.